Hey patients, Dr. Epic here, back with some more Demosane for you. Today I wanted to talk about the Remnant architects of the Mass Effect universe. Spoilers will, as always, follow. If you manage to encounter one of these guys, you might remember them as those big metal worm boss fight things. I've always been a little fascinated with them, so I thought I would try and explore them a little bit more in video format as well. First off, thank you for clicking. Now, let's talk about the architects.
I'm the architect. You have many questions.
Let's explore the architect lore, and then later we'll explore what role the architects perhaps will play in future games. The architects can be described as enormous, mobile remnant robo-constructs. They take the shape of a giant metallic worm. Like all remnant technology, they appear laced integrally with element 0, giving it seemingly magical abilities. Like the ability to traverse large and short distances with speed impossible for such massive creatures. It is a rare sight to encounter an architect, but they have been confirmed spotted at 4 of the different so-called Golden Worlds, as well as one additional one at Meridian. On the Golden Worlds, the architects have been spotted on Eladon, Eos, Kadara, and Vold. These worlds, beside for their unique artificial Meridian, all share the commonality of having a vault, a technological system capable of planetary environmental control. This hints to the fact that the architects and vaults may be connected. This paints a grim picture for any potential architects that would have lived on H047C. This relates back to their name. It is theorized mainly by the Asari PB on the Pathfinder team of the Tempest that the architect could be responsible for digging out the massive underground voids of the Golden Worlds where the vaults are installed. This is plausible, but not confirmed as of yet. I personally also believe they play some other key role in the vault's other processes in regards to the environmental control. It is further unknown whether there is only one architect per planet or if there are several across the continents. The architects are beautiful and awe-inspiring creatures, but they can actually be a pretty big threat to travelers who encounter one. This is, to be clear, rather the rule than it is the exception. Like all Remnant technology, the material of its skin is nearly impervious to damage, demonstrating the strength of Remnant technology. To small arms fire, the architect's skin is invulnerable. Only where it opens up can it be damaged. It possesses a range of defensive capabilities. In addition to this, including its abilities to create smaller remnant units on the fly to combat its threats more effectively. It can also fire a big red energy blast.
This is an invasion of ow!
Oh, sorry. I can't help it.
Doing massive damage to vehicles and personnel alike. People are advised to stay clear of architects at all costs, but if you have to defeat it, there is only one known way to do it, without using the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War.
That's gotta hurt!
And that way is to use firearms to damage the exposed power cores, glowing with bright red lights. Upon enough sustained damage, the architect will fall to the ground temporarily. This is your opportunity to escape as far as you can. The Pathfinder team of Rider discovered that they could utilize their SAMs to reprogram the architect in this down state to leave the ground and enter the planetary orbit instead. This is the only known way of getting them out of effective threat range for ground inhabitants. Once in orbit, the architect appears to stay docile and dormant and in a self-repair state, somewhat indicating they might return to the surface given enough time, though this has not yet been observed. There are 5 known architects. One resides on Eos and appears to have been sleeping in the ground for an unknown purpose. It was apparently awoken by colonists installing and activating seismic hammers. After a Pathfinder Rider managed to reset the architect, it retreated to the upper atmosphere of Eos, where it appears to be monitoring and surveying the radioactive atmosphere of the planet. Another architect resides on Vold, beneath the ice of the planet. It was found by the Pathfinder while investigating cause of death to a missing initiative science team. The architect now resides in Vold's orbit in standby mode. Another architect resides on Kadara, encountered by Pathfinder Rider and reset after a violent fight. In orbit, the architect seems to analyze and monitor Kadara's water quality. Another architect resides on Eladon, where the local Krogan colony was concerned with the architect's erratic movements across the dunes, perhaps one day deciding to head towards their colony and harm it on its path. After Pathfinder Rider's intervention, it now resides in standby mode in Eladon's orbit. The final confirmed architect was found, fought, and defeated by Pathfinder Rider on Meridian. The Archon had seized control of it through interaction with local Remnant technology in an attempt to kill the Pathfinder and seize control of Meridian and the Vault network at large. It was eventually brought to a harmless state, as the initiative now commands Meridian. That does it for the lore part of what I discovered about the architects. So now we'll speculate a little bit about what role they will play in future games. As for the role of architects in the future games, we'll of course have to wait and see. I wouldn't mind learning more about them, as much of their function and purpose is still a mystery. Defeating the architects is an optional affair, and they're pretty rare, so not all players may have found them all. I think resetting the architects are important to really reset the vaults and increase the viability of the relevant golden worlds. And I hope players who achieved high viability see the fruits of that labor in the coming games. In relation to the architects specifically, maybe they can return to their respective planetary surfaces and aid further in colonization, or maybe they're right where they're supposed to be right now when they are in orbit and they were never meant to be on the surface. Of course. I don't think that's super likely because, you know, who dug out the Remnant tunnels? You have to find another creature that did that. I don't think that's super likely. And if we are to revisit the Golden Worlds, the architects have to be addressed, I think, as it's hard to miss these loud objects in orbits around these planets if they are reset. Perhaps we will, of course, just get a short dialogue or quip in the sequel addressing this. I do hope the architects will be served justice, a little bit more than just that, but because even though many people hated fighting them, a lot of people like myself also enjoyed fighting them and became charmed by their fascinating design and lore. My favorite fight was actually Vold, which by many is hated because of how they didn't like to have to dodge both the architect and the pools of the cold air. I really liked the architects, and I hope to see them again. But as for now, I don't think there's any more to say about them that I can remember. If you know anything about the architects that you would like to share, please do. If not, thank you for watching. I'll be signing out as Dr. Epic. Subscribe for more Element Zero.
We loved our
game,
but she was evil. Made the
fans,
crazy, killed our puppies, hid the remote. Really sick shit.
EA,
Took her to the old family farm and drowned her in a well. I felt simple
DLC,
would have been sufficient.
EA,
Imprinted her evil on a videotape. I never meant for it to get out, but
What?
I put it in the wrong box and returned it to Blockbuster instead of my copy of Pootie Tang.
It's been circulating and killing ever since.
Just like Pootie Tang.
But what does this have to do with
nostalgia,
I don't know. Perhaps
EA,
summoning them to kill us all.
an alien invasion? I have to warn the world.
It's already begun. You're too late.
Oh my god.
But not too late to make an old man happy. What? What?